Hey, sports card fans, it's John, Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. This is a video response for Doug, Don't Talk to Robots. He is doing his first ever VR contest on his channel, and what he wants us to do is show off our top 5 favorite red cards in our collection. Now, before I get into that, the second part of his video response, he wants us to shout out a channel that has less than 500 subscribers. So the channel that I decided to give a shout out is Ol Sarge Collects, Dan. Now, Dan recently did his own VR contest celebrating 100 subscribers to his channel. Right now, I think he's at 162 subscribers. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do a VR in time for his contest, so I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to give Dan's channel a shout out. Now, by the way, in the description of this video, I will have a link to Doug, Don't Talk to Robots, and Dan, Ol Sarge Collects. Definitely go check both of their channels out if you're not familiar with them. As for Dan, he likes to collect vintage baseball cards and vintage non-sports cards. So he has some really interesting cards in his collection that he shows off. So definitely go show Dan some hobby love. Check out some of his videos. And if you like that, hopefully you'll subscribe to his channel. All right, back to Doug's VR. Now, Doug, by the way, also has some great content, very entertaining in his videos. Definitely must-watch videos, so go check his channel out and videos as well. Now, Doug, I hope this is okay. You want us to show off our top 5 red cards in our collection. Well, as you probably know, my overall collection has 2 main focuses now. One, of course, Wade Boggs, and the other is vintage baseball cards. So I decided to maybe stretch the rules a little bit, and I wanted to show off my top 5 favorite red Wade Boggs cards, as well as my top 5 favorite red vintage baseball cards. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show them off. Okay, I'm going to start off with my top 5 favorite red Wade Boggs cards. Now, you would think that technically all of my Wade Boggs cards featuring him in a Red Sox uniform could qualify as part of my favorite, and I have thousands. But actually, there are some that have a predominant, like say, red background to them, and there aren't as many of those to look through. And so I found my 5 favorites. So the first one, and some of these are not only my favorite predominantly red featured cards, they are some of the rarest or hard to find cards that I have in my collection. So the first one is the 1998 Donruss Crusade Red. These are extremely hard to come by. They are serial numbered to only 25. If you collect cards from the 90s, you know that these Donruss Crusades, there's a green version and a purple version, but the red out of 25 are really hard to find, and I was fortunate enough a long time ago to pick up this copy. So that's the first one on my list. Put that over there. The second one is a sneaky hard card to find. You wouldn't think it. It's not serial numbered, but it's from 1999 Pacific Prism Red. Now, this red parallel was found in retail packs. Now, normally if you think, oh, this is a insert in retail packs, this isn't one of those cards where you find, you know, one of these red in a pack or every 2 packs or every 3 packs. They are really hard to find, but they were only inserted into retail packs. Now, I don't know, there's a lot of things unknown about these red prisms in terms of overall production, how really hard it was to pull. But needless to say, you do not find many of these copies out there. So I don't know the exact print run, what the odds were of pulling one of these in a retail pack. But if you do an eBay search, or if you know people who, again, collect cards from the 90s here, you'll see that these red prisms, especially for like Hall of Famers, go for pretty big bucks because they are hard to come by. So that is card number 2 for Wade Boggs. My third one, I just love this image and love this parallel version. It is from 2016 Topps Tribute, and it's the red parallel, serial numbered out of 5. You can see, there we go, 3 out of 5. Just love that image of Boggs there fielding. It's an older image of him. Just love the design of that card and the shine as well. There's the back quick, nothing much about the back. But that card right there definitely had to make my top 5 list. All right, try to get the glare out of this. All right. The next to last one is also from 2016 Topps Tribute, and this is the Foundations of Greatness autograph, the red parallel. This one also is numbered 3 out of 5. You have an on-card autograph, and just that red background there, just love the overall design of it. Just a great image, and of course that follow-through swing image of Boggs is another one of my favorite images of him. So just absolutely love this card. And then the last one, I'm going to try to slide this over here. The last one is one of my several one-of-ones in my collection, and this is the 2016, again, Topps Triple Threads Ruby. The Ruby parallel one-of-one. You can see down there, it has the one-of-one. And again, somewhat similar batting, pose, that follow through as that other image there. Just a different example of it. But that red parallel there at the top and bottom, the shine to it. Again, it's just the base parallel out of one-of-one, no autograph or game used material on it, but just one of my favorite one-of-ones in my collection, then maybe non-autographed in my collection. So there are my top 5 red Wade Boggs cards. So now let's get to the vintage cards in my collection. All right, get those off to the side here. All right, the first one, and I'm just going to do this in sort of chronological order. The first one is a card I picked up in 2022 at a Pittsburgh card show. My 1949 Bowman Warren Spahn, with that nice red background there, red on the uniform. What I find interesting about this, which surprisingly, if you follow my channel and know how I am about centering and eye appeal and stuff, it does have just a little bit of a mark there, or a different coloration on the back. But this card is so sharp, it may have been a higher grade, but would have had maybe some sort of qualifier, but it still received a PSA 5, and I think it just gives this card some character. Personally, I think when it comes to vintage cards, if a card is too perfect, it just doesn't look right to me for a vintage card. So this has some pretty good centering, not perfect. The corners are nice as well. The registry on this 49, I like some of these because they overlay the color, and sometimes you just get it's off. And this is pretty on. It's maybe not be perfect, but it's pretty good there. And so the fact that there's a little bit of a mark there, I don't know if it's some staining or whatever, just to me gives this card some character. And here is the back of it as well, even some red lettering. So that's the first red of my favorite red cards in my vintage collection. The next one is one I picked up at this year's National. One that I've always loved, I've always wanted in my collection. I did have a previous favorite Ted Williams card in my collection, the 52 Topps number 250, but I think this one overall has become my favorite Ted Williams card, and it's the 54 Bowman. And I was so lucky enough to be able to pick this up in a 2.5, fairly well centered. Just, I don't know, I've always loved this Ted Williams card, and just his smile, how the cap sort of just tilted a little bit on his head, and the fact that this is a short print. This is a card that should never have been made because of Ted Williams' contract with Topps in 1954. So all in all, this is one of my favorite cards in my collection now, and so I had to include this as one of my top 5 favorite red cards for the Red Sox. The next one, and I think the last 3 are actually Reds players. And the first one is my 1957 Topps Frank Robinson rookie card for the Cincinnati Redlegs at the time, as they were known. So I've had this card in my collection for a very long time. I think this may be one of my earliest graded cards. I actually had submitted this way back in the day to PSA, my one and only PSA submission. We may be talking 15 plus years ago. But there is the Frank Robinson rookie card. And my next one is, I think, and I think a lot of collectors think this as well, one of, if not their favorite Pete Rose cards, and that's his second year 64 Topps. You got the rookie cup on there, just that great image of Rose smiling, so much better than his rookie card in my opinion. And this PSA 4 example is really nicely centered. Really happy to have picked up this copy here. There is the back, nice as well. You know, Pete Rose has had some, really nice vintage cards. I have some other Rose copies as well, but this is my favorite card of Pete Rose. And then finally, let me move this over here so I can fit it in. I can do that. The last one is, now this one I think I picked up. This one may have been in either 21 or 22 National, possibly the 22 National. But anyway, it is the 1969 Topps Johnny Bench, another rookie cup, second year card, his first solo card, just like the Pete Rose. The 64 was his first solo card. I just love that image of him. I know he doesn't have a hat on, but he's in that catcher pose. I don't know. I just love this Johnny Bench card, obviously from the Reds, so it qualifies for this contest here. The back's nicely well centered. I remembered, based on what these were going for at the time, and thinking back now, I think this was at the 2021 National. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, I was not necessarily looking for this particular card, but I found it. And at the time, anything higher than a PSA 4 was fairly expensive. And I saw this PSA 4 copy. I paid a little bit higher than the comps at the time, but this thing is so well centered. Again, there's issues on the corners, but to me, that's just a great copy of the 69 Topps Johnny Bench. All right, so Doug, these are my top 5 red vintage cards, along with my top 5 red Wade Boggs card. Thanks so much for doing this contest. Hopefully, I think I should get in right under the wire. And so definitely go check out Doug. Don't Talk to Robots, and Dan Old Sarge Collects. And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.